Once upon a time, in a small, cozy town surrounded by rolling green hills, there was a magical amusement park called Wonderwheel Park. This was not an ordinary amusement park. It only appeared at night, when the moon was full and the stars were twinkling like tiny lanterns in the sky. Children who were lucky enough to find it were promised the most wonderful night of adventure, laughter, and dreams coming true. In this town lived a little girl named Lila. Lila had curly golden hair that bounced when she ran and bright green eyes that sparkled like the morning dew. She loved adventures more than anything else in the world, and she had a very curious heart that always wanted to explore. One evening, as she was gazing out her bedroom window at the glowing moon, she noticed a strange, sparkling light flickering through the trees near the hill at the edge of town. Her eyes widened with excitement. Could it be a magical place? She whispered. She quickly put on her little red shoes, tiptoed past her sleeping parents, and followed the twinkling lights into the night. As Lila approached the hill, she saw a shimmering archway made entirely of golden fairy lights. A gentle breeze carried the scent of caramel popcorn, cotton candy, and fresh strawberries. She stepped through the archway, and suddenly she found herself in the most beautiful amusement park she had ever seen. There were rides that sparkled like diamonds under the moonlight, stalls with glowing treats, and music that floated in the air like a soft lullaby. A giant Ferris wheel turned slowly, its seats glowing in every color of the rainbow. Lila's eyes grew even wider when she saw a carousel with animals that weren't ordinary at all. There were winged horses, smiling foxes, tiny elephants with sparkling tusks, and even a friendly dragon that gently blew bubbles as it spun. The animal's eyes twinkled with warmth, inviting Lila to hop on. She ran toward the carousel and climbed onto a small, cheerful dragon named Dazzle. As the carousel began to turn, Dazzle whispered, "Hold on tight, Lila. Tonight you'll have an adventure like no other." The carousel spun slowly at first, then faster and faster, until the park seemed to swirl around her. Lights sparkled like stars and music echoed like the soft ringing of tiny bells. Lila laughed with delight as Dazzle lifted into the air, gliding above the glowing stalls and sparkling fountains. She waved at a group of dancing fairies who twirled above a fountain that shimmered like liquid silver. The fairies waved back, sprinkling tiny dust particles that made Lila's hair glisten like gold. After Dazzle gently landed near a rainbow-colored roller coaster, Lila hopped off and ran toward the line, which moved like a ribbon weaving through the park. The roller coaster cars were shaped like giant fruits. One looked like a strawberry, another like a pineapple, and one even like a glowing watermelon. Lila climbed into the strawberry car and held on to the sparkling handles. The ride began with a soft rumble, then soared high into the night sky. The wind tickled her cheeks, and she could see the entire park below, glowing with magical lights. As the roller coaster swooped and twirled, Lila noticed other children riding alongside her. There was a boy with blue hair named Finn, who laughed so loudly that it sounded like a cheerful song, and a little girl named Mira, who wore a crown of tiny flowers in her hair. Together they shouted with joy as the ride dipped through glittering tunnels and spun around rainbow-colored loops. When the ride finally slowed down, Lila's heart was still racing with excitement, but she was ready for more. Next, she wandered to a game stall where a kindly old owl with spectacles perched behind a counter. The sign read, Catch a star and make a wish. Lila picked up a tiny net, and the owl nodded. The stars here are very special, dear. Each one carries a dream. Catch one, and your dream may come true. Lila ran across a soft, glowing meadow where hundreds of twinkling stars floated gently above the ground. She carefully reached out and caught a small silver star. As it rested in her hand, she whispered a wish for a night full of wonder and friendship. The star twinkled brightly and zipped into the sky, leaving a trail of golden sparkles behind. Feeling delighted, Lila moved on to a section of the park that looked like a magical forest. The trees had leaves that shimmered in all colors, and soft lanterns hung from the branches. Tiny woodland creatures peeked from behind the bushes, smiling and waving. She spotted a gentle deer with sparkling antlers, a rabbit with a coat as soft as clouds, and a fox with twinkling eyes. "Welcome, Lila," said the deer in a voice like soft wind. "Tonight every corner of Wonderwheel Park holds a surprise for you." She wandered deeper into the forest and discovered a small pond where the water reflected the stars above. A bridge made of glimmering vines arched over the pond, leading to a secret garden filled with flowers that sang lullabies in soft whispers. Lila sat by the pond, listening to the gentle melodies. The flowers swayed as if dancing to the music, and fireflies hovered above, creating tiny constellations in the air. Lila felt a calm warmth fill her heart, like a hug from the night itself. Suddenly she heard a soft giggle. Turning around, she saw a little cloud-like creature floating above a bed of glowing mushrooms. It had tiny wings and eyes that sparkled like the moon. "Hello, Lila. I'm Pufflet," it said. "Would you like to ride the rainbow slide?" Before Lila could answer, Pufflet scooped her up in a gentle swirl and floated toward a giant slide that glittered like a river of colors. Lila slid down, laughing all the way, feeling as if she was flying on a rainbow. She landed softly on a cushion of sparkling petals at the bottom. Next, she explored a candy corner where every treat glowed softly. Cotton candy clouds floated in the air, chocolate fountains sparkled like molten gold, and lollipops grew from the ground like colorful flowers. Lila took a small bite of a strawberry lollipop, and it melted like a sweet dream on her tongue. She shared a chocolate truffle with Finn and Myra, and together they built a tower of candy as tall as they could reach, giggling all the while. After the candy corner, Lila noticed a gentle train ride circling the park. The train was painted in shimmering pastels, and tiny lanterns lit each car. She climbed aboard with Finn and Myra, and they waved to the other children as the train moved slowly through sparkling tunnels and over rainbow bridges. Along the way, magical animals waved from the trees, and little fountains of glitter splashed playfully around them. The train ride felt like a gentle lullaby, rocking Lila into a state of sleepy wonder. As the night grew deeper, Lila wandered to a quiet corner of the park where a magical library floated above the ground. Books hovered in midair, opening and closing softly. Lila picked up a book with a shimmering cover, and as she opened it, the pages glowed with stories that whispered into her mind. Each word felt like a gentle hug, each sentence like a soft melody. She read about tiny fairies who painted the sky with colors at dawn, about animals who sang lullabies to the moon, and about clouds that danced with the stars. Feeling drowsy, Lila realized it was almost time to leave Wonderwheel Park. She climbed back onto Dazzle the Dragon, who carried her gently toward the golden archway that led home. The park sparkled behind her, lights twinkling like 1,000 tiny stars. "Thank you, Dazzle," Lila whispered. "I'll never forget this night." As she stepped through the archway, she found herself back on the hill near her home. The moon shone brightly above, and the breeze carried the sweet scents of the park. Lila tiptoed back into her bedroom, snuggling under her warm blankets. Outside her window, she could just make out the faint sparkle of Wonderwheel Park disappearing into the night sky, promising that it would return on another magical evening. Lila closed her eyes, her heart full of wonder, adventure, and happiness. She dreamed of flying dragons, dancing fairies, glowing candy, and whispering flowers. She knew that no matter how far she wandered in the world, she would always carry a piece of Wonderwheel Park in her heart. And as she slept, the stars outside twinkled softly, as if singing her a lullaby, and the moon smiled down, watching over her magical dreams. And so, in a town surrounded by hills, a little girl named Lila slept peacefully, dreaming of magical rides, sparkling stars, and the friends she had made in a night filled with laughter, candy, and wonder. The night was quiet, the air soft and warm, and Wonderwheel Park awaited its next lucky visitor, ready to fill their heart with magic and dreams. And from that night on, whenever Lila looked at the moon, she remembered the magical night at Wonderwheel Park and smiled, knowing that magic and adventure were always just a dream away,